I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Rachel Zegler was once praised as the new face of Gen Z Hollywood, especially after her breakout role in West Side Story. But when she tried to defend her portrayal of Snow White, things took a turn nobody saw coming. What started as a social media post meant to counter hate spiraled into a controversy that exposed deep cracks in the film's reception and in Rachel's own image. It all began with a clip she filmed in her bedroom. Rachel looked into the camera, both frustrated and defiant, determined to address the hate she'd received. She insisted that despite the threats and anger, people would still line up to see her work. To her, this was an attempt at reclaiming the narrative, showcasing vulnerability and resolve. Instead, the internet saw it as passive-aggressive and out of touch. The video, which spread like wildfire across platforms, quickly became more ammunition for her critics than a clarion call of support. But that was just the first domino to fall. Almost immediately, snippets from the video popped up all over TikTok and X, formerly Twitter. People reacted with disbelief, comedic skits, and impassioned rants. Old interviews where Rachel joked about the weird 1937 original Snow White came roaring back to life, along with sarcastic hashtags and memes labeling her as the real villain of the story. Many poked fun at her comments about not needing a prince and belittling the classic animated film. Before long, the conversation wasn't just about Snow White anymore. It was about Rachel's entire approach to the iconic role, and the numbers would soon tell the rest of the story. When Snow White opened, the box office results were downright alarming. A meager $45 million domestic debut stood in stark contrast to other Disney live-action remakes like The Little Mermaid, which earned more than double that amount in its opening weekend. Theater owners began pulling the movie from prime slots, and viewers who might have been on the fence decided to skip it altogether. As social media continued to roast Rachel's performance and comments, Disney's legendary marketing machine couldn't change the narrative. The writing was on the wall. Snow White was a flop, and many blamed its star. But the story wasn't over yet. Another spotlight was about to make things even more awkward. Rachel's appearance at the Oscars, alongside co-star Gal Gadot, was supposed to be a moment of redemption, or at least a show of unity. Instead, cameras captured an unmistakable chill between the two actresses. They rarely made eye contact, and Gal's guarded demeanor all but confirmed the rumors of tension. Once these clips surfaced online, people questioned whether Rachel's controversies had driven even her co-stars to keep a distance. The Oscars moment ended up solidifying the sense that Hollywood, and perhaps even her film family, was moving on without her, and the damage kept growing behind the scenes. Behind the glitz, rumblings in Hollywood painted a grim picture for Rachel's future. She found herself without the usual chorus of support that stars typically rally in times of crisis. Fellow actors and industry insiders remained silent, no one rushing to defend her. Audiences felt alienated, especially longtime Disney fans, who adored the original Snow White. Some said they wouldn't buy tickets for a film when its leading actress had openly criticized its classic roots. Gossip columns began reporting that projects once slated for Rachel were quietly getting put on pause. Public perception matters, and in this case, it was turning brutally cold, yet the blowback wouldn't stop there. As more of her old press statements hit the internet, any lingering goodwill seemed to evaporate. People were angered by what they saw as disrespect for a cherished childhood classic. Parents and grandparents took to social media to explain why they refused to take their families to the movie. Without supportive tweets from colleagues or heartfelt messages from other celebrities, Rachel found herself in an echo chamber of criticism. Even at industry events, there was a noticeable chill. Nobody wanted to be dragged into the controversy. Insiders whispered that the promising newcomer was now seen as a risky bet, and marketing teams wondered if audiences would avoid her future projects on principle. After so much disappointment, how could there be any turning back? Rachel Zegler's journey from Hollywood darling to online punching bag happened with startling speed. Intended to be her big Disney moment, Snow White instead highlighted every perceived flaw in her attitude and approach. Her attempts at modernization came across as dismissive, and her defiance was read as arrogance. In an era where fans have more influence than ever and aren't afraid to show it, Rachel's story stands as a stark warning. Will she find a way to mend fences and rebuild trust? Or has the meltdown already defined her future in Hollywood? That remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the rise and fall of Rachel Zegler has become a cautionary tale for every would-be star under the spotlight.